Hello, dear friends. Welcome to What is a Safety Plan? So, my objective here is to go through and clarify what is a safety plan, help you create your own. I am using the safety plan in my planner journal that I created specifically for women who have left domestic violence, but a lot of the content can be applied if you're still in an abusive relationship. So if you have yet to purchase that, you can do so. I'll put the link in the description below. Otherwise, I'm going to go through it. And if you want to just write it out yourself, you can do that. It's totally up to you. Let's get started. So, quick disclaimer though, everything I talk about, I am a professional social worker. However, I am using my platform to discuss for educational purposes, informational purposes, anything to do with healing from domestic violence, the information, the statistics like that. I just want everyone to know that, we're not working one on one, we're not in that type of relationship, but I want to provide education, information. You can take it, you can leave it. It's up to you how you use what we learned today. So let's just dive right in. So I'm looking at my safety plans on my phone here. It's a digital um, copy. You can always print it out. It's up to you if you're following along, if you've purchased it already. But so, what is a safety plan? In brief, a safety plan is an intentional plan that you walk through if you are in an unsafe situation, crisis, or an emergency. So, I just want to highlight that a safety plan, one of the objectives and hopes of the safety plan is that it's there to help you almost like rehearse your response rather than your reaction in an unsafe situation. You know, if you think about times where there's been a crisis, how often do we react with emotion, freak out, or shut down, or however fight or flight mode goes for you? We want to avoid that and not knowing what to do and create a safety plan so that it can help us as much as possible because it's not going to go perfectly. This isn't about perfection. It's about what can I do when this happens? Who can I call? What is my response going to be versus my reaction? Okay, so that's why a safety plan is important, especially if you have children. I advise that you rehearse this with them, make sure they understand, get down on their level, use words that they will understand. Many times when I work with families, I do work in child protection, so this is a big thing that we do is we rehearse things almost like a fire drill. In school when children go through a fire drill, this in its own way is like a fire drill. Okay, so that is basically what a safety plan is. I have seen and worked with families a safety plan that are pages long, and a safety plan that's 1 or 2 pages. It really depends on your situation, how in depth you want to go. Sometimes those of us who are helping professionals, we sometimes have big safety plans, and sometimes that's necessary, sometimes that's not. But the objective is to have a plan to keep your children safe, and to answer those questions like, what do I do next? All right, so if you're creating your own and you don't have the one that I have created in front of you, if you're like to be organized like me, you can put one column on one side of your paper, another column on the other side, maybe about just half a page. On the left-hand column, put my top 5 supports. Now, supports, what do I mean by supports? Family, friends, those like people in your life that you count on to be there for you when something goes wrong. Write their names, write their phone numbers, make sure you have that there. Excuse me. So if you don't have 5, that's okay. This isn't a numbers game. It's not about, oh, yay, I have 5, good for me. Name at least one person though. Okay. I always challenge people when I work with them. Sometimes people tell me, I don't even have one person, Ali. I don't even have one person. I challenge you to think of one person. That one person that you could call. You don't have to be best buds with them. That's not the point. But somebody that can be there for you, whether that's to call, to text, to go to their house if need be. Who's that one person? On the right hand column, who are your top professional supports? Is that a social worker, your therapist? You can even write the number for your police or fire station there, an domestic violence advocate. Who are those people that are your professional supports, helping professionals that you can call? Now, generally, unless it's like a 911 crisis situation, you're probably not going to pick up the phone and like call your therapist or your social worker, come help me, right? That's not generally how that goes. That's what your natural supports or your support people, family or friends, that is their job to be there, the 24/7 people, okay? But you do want to have a list of name and numbers of the two different type of supportive people in your life. Next, we're going to write out that one person, maybe two, if you're blessed to have those two people in your life. Um, if I am not comfortable staying home or alone, or I need a safe place to stay, I can call blank. Who's that person that comes to your mind right now? Don't overthink it. Who's that one person or two people? So put their name, put their number and their address. I know it sounds silly, like why would I write down their address and phone number? I know that. You may know that, but if you're like in slight panic mode or things are going wrong, what if your ex, what if buddy's at the door and like banging on the door and you have to escape out even a window or a back door? You may be like, what's the address for grandma? Like I know that when I need a safe place to stay, I can stay at my grandma's. If you have these things written down, it takes away that emotional response, or sometimes we just simply forget something that we've known for years because we're in panic mode. So write down that name, that number, that address of the person if you need to escape or you need a place to stay that does not involve staying at home. Who can that one person be? Write that down, okay? Okay, now code words. So um, this is good for kids. Let's say, like I said, Buddy comes to your house. He's not supposed to be there. He's getting threatening. He knows you're on the phone. Maybe the window's open. He can hear you calling grandma. Be like, Grandma, I need to come over and stay with you. Now, because he can hear you, you don't want to say, Grandma, I'm coming over to stay with you tonight because so and so's at the door. But if you have a code word, like let's say waffles, and you've told Grandma, when I use the phrase like waffles in this context, that means I'm coming over because he's here or I'm unsafe right now and I'm bringing the kids. So call Grandma on the phone, be like, hey, I just want to know if you can meet me for some waffles. I'm really just hungry right now. Me and the kids need a bite to eat. Bang. Grandma knows, okay, something's going down. My granddaughter and her kids are coming. This is what's happening. Even telling the kids, when mommy uses the word waffles in this way, just this is what we're going to do. The code word is waffles, which means that we're going to get our getaway bag. We'll go over that in a minute. We're going to get our getaway bag. We're going to get into the car. We're going to grandma's. We're going to stay there for a while until we feel like it's safe to come home. Most kids will understand that. Explain the best that you can, knowing your own kids and their ages and all that stuff. Okay. All right. Yes. Make sure your kids know the code word. Make sure they know the number for 911. Alrighty. So next, what we can do, if you're creating your safety plan as we go along, about half a page, we're going to write out, in an emergency, I will. So basically, what I just went through earlier, I just basically reiterated a safety plan. So we're going to write in like a one paragraph your safety plan. So like I said, I'll go through it one more time. When my ex shows up unannounced at my home, this is it. If he knows where you live, ideally, don't tell him. But if he finds out and he shows up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call grandma or text or whomever, the code word or, hey, I'm coming over, whatever you arrange with your support person. I'm going to text the code word to grandma. I'm going to get my getaway bag, or ideally, if it's already in the trunk, I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive to grandma's. Me and the kids are going to stay there for 2 days, and then we're going to come home. Now, that's very brief. It doesn't need to be this big, long, detailed thing. But if you want a detail, that's fine too. Because like I said, when you're in survival mode, you may want to have those details written in front of you. That makes you feel better. So it's up to you. But you just want to make sure it's concrete, it makes sense, allow for some flexibility, because maybe if, let's say, maybe grandma was on vacation, who's your backup person, right? So you have to kind of think of those things too. So you could write, if grandma's not available, I'm going to Uncle Rick's, okay? And Uncle Rick is already in the know of the code word and what goes down and all that kind of stuff, okay? So write down your step-by-step guide of what you're going to do. And I would even add, in those 2 days you're staying at grandma's house, what can you do with the professional supports? Maybe I will call my therapist and make an appointment, or I will check in with a social worker, just say, hey, this is what happened. Do you mind checking in with me in 24 hours just to make sure I'm safe? Whatever you've arranged with your some professional supports or what you can arrange with them, maybe check in with somebody there that can help you out, okay? Now, let's go over what a getaway bag is. Um, I'm going to say I suggest having a getaway bag for sure if you're in an abusive situation, but also if you've left one. It's up to you though if you've left one. But the reason I say to maybe have one is that statistically, women are at a very high risk of getting hurt, abused again, even being unalived after they leave an abusive situation because the abusive person is losing control and things can go down that are not pleasant, to say the least. So, you want a safety plan that involves a getaway bag for you and your children. Keep it in your trunk if you can, or you could keep it in like the front door of your home by your front door, or even if you can keep it at one of your supportive people's homes, that's something too. Let's go over what you would put in that bag though, okay? So like I just wanted to highlight, doesn't matter if you've left. I had my getaway bag in my car for a while, until I felt like it was safe to take it out. It was a few years, guys. It was maybe 2 or 3 years. It may not be that long for you. It was just what felt right for me because it did take my ex about 4 years to stop messaging me, some stalking here and there, just being a pain in the butt. So that's why I kept it in there. Every situation is different, but I encourage you to have one. All right, let's talk about getaway bags. So, you want to have important belongings and documents such as ID cards or copies of, okay? Your another phone, or if you don't have another phone, at least another charger. Because you may forget to grab a charger on your way out, but you're probably highly unlikely to do that. Plus, those things are always getting lost anyway. So, a copy or the original of your restraining order or a parenting order, anything like that that you have, that you could use to let's say I don't know, maybe he calls the police on you and says, oh, she's kidnapping my kids. You're like, listen, I have a parenting order that outlines ABC that gives me the day-to-day rights of parenting these kids. Buddy sees him on Sundays. You can still see you on Sunday, but today's Wednesday and you were threatening, leave me alone. So you want to be able to present that. You want to be able to say, hey, this backs up my decision to do this or my rights to do this, to have my kids in my care, essentially. Medications, if you can have backups of your medication or prescriptions, have that in your bag as well, okay? Ready. So birth certificates and health cards, copies of or the original. It's up to you. Like most people don't keep the original of that stuff in their car, so I'd probably say, hey, keep at least a documentation, or sorry, copies of that in your car, okay, or in your getaway bag. Change of clothing for yourself and your children. Also include comfort items or toys. So those are things that you're in a kind of a crappy, emotionally high situation of feeling unsafe. Your kid would probably like to have their favorite teddy bear or one of their favorite blankets or trucks or something that they can have while they're at grandma's for 2 days to make them feel a little bit better, okay? What else? Baby supplies if you have a baby. If you can have extra cash on hand or bank cards, I would say if you could have some cash on hand and just keep like $100 cash or whatever you feel comfortable with in your getaway bag, an extra bank card, if you will, keep that in there. Sometimes, like I said, when we're emotionally high, we forget these things, right? Hopefully you don't forget your wallet though. Extra car key. If you can, keep an extra car key in there. I would hate for you to like lose that car key, or maybe what if it gets stolen? Like what if he tries to take the car key from you? Maybe he got into the house, tries to take your car key. You're not leaving. Guess what? I have another car key in my getaway bag. See you later. Bye. You know? So you just never know what goes down. Think of those important things that you don't want to be without, okay? And you would put it in that getaway bag. Make sure your kids' stuff is in there too. Keep it somewhere safe where you can either grab quickly or it's already in your car. Or even some people I know have kept their getaway bag in their office at their work, because maybe you can make a stop there. It just really depends on your situation and how you want to set this up, okay? All right, so last page, I just highlighted some important things you want to consider. So if your kids are in school, like they're school age, or they're in daycare, day home, I suggest giving them a copy of your restraining order, your parenting order. You can decide how much you want to tell them about your life story, not life story, but about the situation. They don't need to know the nitty gritty. They really don't. And that's not the point here. The point is, I've seen it where dad maybe shows up at the school one day. He doesn't have the rights to take the kids home. He doesn't have the rights to day parent, but he'll show up either to spite you or just, I just want to see my kids today because I can. No, you can't. The school has a copy of that restraining order that says he cannot be near you or the children. If the school is informed, if the school has a copy of that, then they can say, no, actually, it says right here, you cannot. You are not taking these kids. Or, if the police get involved or something that goes down, the school can help back you up before you get there to pick up your kids or whatever the situation is. You decide what you want to tell them, but I suggest you give them some information so that they understand and that they know what's going on, enough to keep your kids safe, right? If you work, your employer, I suggest giving them, they don't necessarily need copies of stuff, but just giving them a heads up. If my ex comes to this workplace and asks to see me, or he just wants to be like, hey, Susan forgot her lunch. Can I give it to her? Something as sneaky simple as that. Um, they can say, actually, no, she's not in today. Or I'm sorry, she went out for a meeting. I totally did that. I told the receptionist at my workplace, if Buddy comes asking for me, tell him I'm out on a call. Heck, even tell them I don't work here anymore. Or whatever you want to say. They can help be part of your safety plan. They can help keep you safe. Okay. Um, this one is part of like the emotional part of being safe. Now, I will be creating more safety plans as time goes on, but this one I wanted it to be concise, basic, simple to put in my planner journal because I wanted you guys to at least have something. But I want to make an extensive one that especially involves emotional safety and spiritual safety. Okay, because those are often forgotten in safety plans, but they're very important, especially those of us that are Christian women, women of faith that have been abused spiritually. You want to keep it, you have the right to keep yourself safe emotionally and spiritually. Okay, anyway, I digress, but just wanted to get that in there. If you have feelings like I miss him, or it would be easier if I went back, I want to go back, stop, because you're probably going to like shame yourself right away for being a horrible person, for feeling that way. You are not a horrible person. You are a normal person. It is perfectly normal to feel that way. There has been a trauma bond. Most of us have been with our ex, or was with our ex, still with, wherever you are in your journey, for years. I have met women 20, 30 years. It is normal to feel that tug and pull of, I want to go back. Or think about how hard it is to rebuild your life. If you've left and you're in the process of rebuilding your life, it kind of sucks because you're rebuilding emotionally, spiritually, financially, resources, all the things you are rebuilding. And it would be easier to go back and um, just be like, you know what, I just want the devil I know versus the one I don't know. I'm scared to rebuild. I feel this wave of fear, yet relief, yet fear comes and goes all the time. I don't know how to either get a job. I don't know how to um, rebuild my spirit, my mind, my everything. It's scary. I'd rather just go back and suffer in the ways that I know how to cope and just do the life I've been doing. But do you though? You don't. That's why you're out or you're planning to get out. Okay, so think about, go back to our support people that we mentioned. Who's that one person, two people that you can call when you feel like you want to go back? Who's that one person that comes to your mind right now that would tell you the things in a very honest way? They would say, hey, Jennifer, I love you. I'm totally empathetic to what you're feeling right now, and it's legit to feel that way. But what happened the last 5 years? He almost put you in the hospital, or he did. He abused and neglected your kids. He called you more names than the Urban Dictionary has in it. That's still a thing? I hope so anyway. But like, who, remember, who's that one person that's gonna like shake you up a little bit and be like, remember that though? I'm not shaming you for feeling this way. I'm not saying you're a bad person for feeling this way, but remember that though. We don't want to go back to that. We don't, statistically, I don't know if it's changed in the last X amount of years, but last time I checked, it took women, often could take women seven times to leave for good. It took me three, the third separation, gone, you know? So I, I feel very blessed that I wasn't in that situation for 20 years trying to leave 7 times. It was 5.5 years. That's plenty enough. Thanks very much. So anyway, my point is, ladies, who is that one friend, auntie, uncle, whomever, mom, that could lovingly be assertive and say, we're not doing that again. We're just not. I love you enough to say, we're just not. Okay? And they can provide you with that verbal, emotional security and love, and could even like hold you down, hold you down emotionally, just to be like, no, 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 stop, stop, stay here the night until like maybe that goes away, or hey, let's go out and play some pool, and we can just get over those feelings for the next hour, okay? Because remember, feelings are not facts. They come. I used to visualize, hey, the first week to year that I left, the emotions would come: fear, uncertainty. Oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm a bad person. I'm a bad Christian for divorcing, even though this guy's nuts. I would picture like that wave of those like negative, scary feelings would come, and I picture it rolling over the rock or a bed of rocks, and then it would go. Sometimes you have to visualize these things, especially if you're like a visual or creative person. Visualize that coming up, leaving, and going. You may have to do that every 5 minutes. I don't know. But I just wanted to highlight and just really validate that you're normal, you're not weird, and you're not going to feel this way forever. Okay? So I hope you feel like you've learned a little bit more about safety plans. You have either created your own, you're in the process of creating your own. Like I said, if you'd like to check out my digital planner journal, link below, you can check it out. And safety plans in there. Other awesome features, like I made a healing playlist. I have some like self-growth healing exercises in there that I've created. And it's a fully customizable weekly planner journal for the next year. You can start it any month, any year, because I left it undated for y'all. So anyway, until my next video, we're going to be doing the next 30 days of safety planning. You can join my Facebook group for Christian women who are survivors. We're going to be journeying for the next 30 days about this topic. Now, if you're watching this 5 years from now, sorry, but I hope that you learned something about this topic. Stay safe. Until next time, see you guys later.